Will a machine be able to reason like a human does? This is the question that inspires MIT, Google DeepMind, and the University of Washington as they work on AI problem solving capabilities. Did you know? Have you seen their news recently? What question am I going to pose to you today? The question is not whether AI can mimic human behavior, but can it enhance our collaborative efforts? My name is Dr. Valerie Clone, and this is Get Started with Atlassian Intelligence.
Welcome to Atlassian Live Learning, where courses meets community. More than individuals in a virtual meeting, we're a thriving community of practice. Whether you're a seasoned expert or a curious newcomer, we invite you to share your thoughts and experiences as we navigate today's topic. If you have a question, ask it in the chat. If you know an answer, please share it. This approach moves newer users towards the inner circle, guided by those with more experience. Let's embrace the opportunity to harness our collective knowledge, connect, and most importantly, have fun. Because learning together is a journey of endless possibilities. For information on where to view a recording of this session or download a copy of the presentation, please see the course resources.
All right, imagine you're working on a complex project, juggling multiple tasks and communication. Suddenly you received a perfectly crafted suggestion that streamlines your workflow. It's as if the system already knew exactly what you needed when you needed it. Just as MIT envisions machines that can problem solve, AI pushes the boundary of what we can do with our collaborative tools. Atlassian Intelligence uses large language models to analyze your team's interactions and construct a custom graph that shows types of work being done and the relationship between them. These models generate probabilistic responses based on your activity. Responses are generated by predicting the most probable next step or word based on the available data. I understand security is important to everybody. It's the top concern, the number one question most people ask. Through a collaboration with OpenAI, Atlassian Intelligence is built on internal models with robust security protocols. This week, they threw me a curveball and were testing out their guardrails, which I'll show you later on in today's presentation. Your data stays within your system, respecting your user permissions. Your admins have control to manage AI across your organization. If you have any specific questions about security, please drop them in the chat or visit trust/Atlassian-intelligence. So what does an internal model look like? Great question. Let's take the RAG architecture as an example. First, you prompt. So this is you. Hey, you. First, you prompt the system by asking it a question. As an agent goes through the knowledge base, so you're going up here, and looks for information, this is your Confluence, that responds to that prompt. It finds pieces of information and then brings it back to itself. And then it goes to your large language model. And once this large language model is trained by OpenAI and Atlassian, it doesn't change very much. What they're using is these agents to fine-tune the information. Now, this is example only, I can't confirm their architecture. They don't let me peek behind the scenes just like that. So the agents find the pieces of information and then it cleans it up and assembles it so that it looks and responds in a way that is appropriate for the prompt itself. Now, time check, are we 5 minutes in? We are exactly 5 minutes in. Throughout today's session, we'll explore capabilities of Atlassian Intelligence, focusing on automation and generative AI. In Confluence, Jira, and Jira Service Management, we'll delve into how these features can transform your team's efficiency and use cases, as well as best practices, all while building community. With these 3 agenda items complete, we're going to move into our demos. I invite you to view our course resources for step-by-step instructions and the ability to personalize your experience by zooming in, pausing, and rewinding pre-recorded demos. Although I'm going to do this live, which is kind of scary. While you're in the resources, copy our hands-on worksheet and our whiteboard for independent practice. First up, to get started, as you navigate the Atlassian app, look for the bolt icon indicating automation and the sparkler icon for generative AI. If you don't see these icons, but know they should be there, it might be because AI isn't enabled for your access level or your system in general. As these features continue to evolve, expect some changes. The goal, though, is that all the AI features behave or work the same across the apps, integrating AI into our workflows across the ecosystem. Gen AI navigation appears in three main ways: an icon with a static toolbar, as a floating toolbar that appears when you hover over the highlighted text, and via a slash key. For full AI options, remember sometimes you have to click the pencil icon to enable edit mode. At Confluence, we have define, summarize, Gen and AI editor, ask AI searches, smart links, and automated workflows. This is a part of our course resources. This is a worksheet. And the way I like to do demos is I start from the right of the screen and work my way to the left. So in the right, we have the summarize AI feature. You click on it, you see this warning error, or it says, I have violated the acceptable use policy of Atlassian Intelligence. And if you click it, it'll lead you to the terms of use and policy. This is them experimenting with those guardrails. I do have another worksheet that should work. There we go. So you see here, this is the summary. Click it up. And then as you use these features, remember always to give a response of whether or not you found value in that generation. So if you click the thumb up feature, and then you can add additional information. And what that does is train the agent that we saw in that other model so that it continues to improve what responses you receive. You can also copy this. If you like the summary, you can copy it, open up a new Confluence page, and then you have that as your new page. So next up, you have the automation feature. So in this automation feature, this is specifically for this page. If I were to do a workflow that had to get a signature from someone, I can create an automation, and that once this page is created, it will be sent to several different people. And I'm going to show you more about automations when I get to the left side of the screen. Also, you will find define features. So let's take the Turing test. Click this define button and it'll give you and generate a definition of the Turing test. And it'll give you a tutorial about how to use the feature. All right, and those are all the features that you get without even clicking this pencil. So once I click the pencil, I get even more features. These features are for editing and improving your documentation. So if you look at this, I can highlight a group of text and say I wanted to change the tone. I have all of these options. These are pre-written AI prompts for you. And I have all of these options. There's my sparkler icon. And you have even more features here. Play around with them when you do these exercises and see what they can do. One of my favorite features is translation. So if I wanted to give this to Tom, I could translate into Chinese and I could translate into Russian. And then Tom can chime in how good it is, Atlassian Intelligence Russian. This I love because we live in a global workplace and other people can hop on and understand your knowledge base and use it as well and contribute. So this kind of just brings it all together. I'm going to go more into these features. We only have 5 minutes per demo during the Confluence group if you join in. As we work to the left of our screen, you have your automations. Leland's going to show you detailed information about the automations in his demo on Jira. But for Confluence automations, all of these features behave similarly across apps, but you could either use a template here, or you can use natural language processing, type in anything you want here, and it'll create an automation for you. It's making automations more accessible to everybody, so everyone can start making automations if they have permission from their admin to make automations. So you have to be granted that permission to use AI. And you can only automate within the area of your Confluence that you were given that permission. So it has to be your project or your page. All right, back to our presentation. Prompting. So AI prompting is when Atlassian Intelligence doesn't have that pre-made prompt for you, you can create a prompt using natural language processing and generative AI to create content. All of the other content that you get in Confluence is just pulling existing information. Well, how do you create new information? So AI prompts are commands that you enter into AI, and this is any AI, any generative AI, to perform specific tasks. Think of prompting like ordering at a restaurant. The clearer and more specific you are, the less likely you're going to get a surprise dish. You wouldn't walk into a restaurant and say, I want food, and expect to get satisfied. So we want to be clear and specific. Atlassian Intelligence has many predefined prompts like brainstorm, find actions, but there's a structured approach for custom AI prompting. It's called prompt engineering to get the best response from your generative AI. Task, context, example, persona, format, and tone. You don't always need all six, but when you do, it makes for happy AI training. I put all of this in your course resources. Take a look. Tasks clearly define the actions you want to perform. Use specific and direct action verbs such as create, summarize, suggest. Context provides necessary background information relevant to the task. This helps AI understand the scope and specifics of what you need. If possible, include an example to guide the AI on what to expect from the outcome. It can be a template, or it could be a previous instance of a similar task. Persona helps specify the intended audience or ask the AI to act like a defined character. So this ensures alignment with the user's need. Describe the format in which you want the output. Include specific structures like I want a table, a list, code, stories, reports. Indicate the desired tone. So you want to match the communication style of the audience that you want to convey the information to. Now, there is an activity. It's in a Confluence whiteboard. So this activity board, you have lots of activities that relate to this session. Here on this left side, we have pieces of a prompt, and your goal is to sort these prompts by what it is. So using the structure from the previous product launch, is that a task, a context, example, persona, format, or tone? Now, if you're using this for the first time, the bottom right-hand corner, you have the ability to zoom in and zoom out. There's also in this button here on the preferences, I've set my circle button of my mouse to be able to scroll, zoom in and zoom out. You can use the buttons down here. I just find that it's easier this way. So using structures from the previous product launch is an example. Now, once you have sorted all of these, create a prompt, write 3 prompts here on the bottom. And you can see that all of the other characters that are in here with me, I have an anonymous parrot, an anonymous rabbit. I'm gonna stop sharing and turn it over to Leland.
Well, good afternoon slash good morning to everybody. My name is Leland Queen, and let's get started with some of the Jira automations that you'll be able to use. So first off, while we're in this project area, the most basic thing to search for is our search. So you can actually find it at the top right of your screen, or little keyboard trick, just hit the backslash button, and then you can find your search bar, hit return, and it brings you to the view that has all of the issues that were created. Now, it already gives us created within the last 30 days. So let's sort through some of these with our AI search. So we'll hit this, ask AI, and let's see, find issues related to automated emails. And you see it pops up with the various issues that were already created. Now, this might look different depending on your actual Jira setup and some of the boards that you have. I little secret, already created a specific email, automated email issue just so we could have ones to find here. But it really depends on the volume and how many teams that you're a part of, depending on what you're looking at. Our searches here are all based off of JQL. So essentially, the Atlassian AI bot is translating our, as Valerie put it, the NLP search into a JQL query. So we see that essentially at the top, our automated emails is in one of the key search terms. You can also start updating the project, the type, the status, or who it's assigned to. Let's go ahead and click into this issue here. So we see that in the issue, the description has popped up, and also any linked issues that are in our that are within the section that we're looking at. If you know that you're going to be looking at a lot of auto emails in this case, or a particular issue, you can also save the filter. You just click Save Filter here and then name it. So we'll just call it Auto Emails and add a description. This is for me to find all of the issues related to automated emails. And we can click Save once we're done. All right. Now, one of the other things that we can do, let's go ahead in here. We can go ahead and use Jira Summarize. So if we find at the bottoms, after all of the details and all the areas, if we want to, right above the comment area, we'll see another AI button. It's this little starburst, and we want to summarize what's going on. So I went ahead and clicked Summarize. We're going to let the Atlassian do its magic, and already here, we have a larger summary that not only brings in everything from brings in a summation of what was in our description, but it also sums up the comment that is already put in there that, hey, maybe adding this might be out of scope. So again, this is a several step summation of everything that we're trying to put together when it comes to saving you time with creating some of these comments, as well as working with your issues. Valerie, would you mind hopping in here?
All right, moving on over here, we go into project settings. And then you get your automations here on the side, click on automations. And if you're not seeing this under your settings, again, you got to check with your admin and check to see if you own that project. All right, so you have all your pre-defined automations that you can click on and just use. They also have some really cool integrations when you get to JSM for different features. Like there's a new relic one that I love and I want to use right away. Or you could just type in whatever you want. So I use my automations for some positive reinforcement. So I will tell them every time I complete a task, send me an encouraging email, preview it, let's see what happens. And so once you have the preview, you like it, you click execute. And so it writes me a nice little kind email. You can preview the email. You can also change it up here if it's not behaving the way you want to, if it's going too often. I also recommend you always test your automations. And those are automations. Now I'm going to turn it over to Caleb.
So Jira Service Management, we're going to go over some of the features that you can do with AI in JSM. You can see here on the list, you have a handful of features that are already in production, as well as at the bottom, there are some in beta AI features that we will probably touch on a little bit in our breakout room. And then we are also going to roll into our best practices. We have a brief special guest.
What's up, Atlassian community? Hey, it's Sharif here, head of AI for Atlassian. Excited to be here with you for another month, giving you an update of all the stuff that's happening across the many awesome teams I am lucky to work with in Atlassian in the world of AI. First up, the Jira Service Management IT Ops team has done an awesome job making use of AI to help you group alerts a lot faster. If you've ever received an incident and you work in IT ops, or know teams that do, they get a lot of notifications. And now in JSM, as they use Jira Service Management up the top, they'll just quickly get the groupings of all the alerts compressed in a way that they can understand, and it'll show you how much it's grouped together and how much noise it's reduced for you. Next up, as you're working on an incident, the next thing you need to do is write a post-incident report once you've resolved it, and write what you learned about it and all that kind of stuff. With JSM now, you can automatically create PIR summaries straight from the Jira issue, which makes it a whole lot easier to capture all that knowledge and conversation from that issue. You can sign up to the IT Ops waitlist if you want to learn more about more of the new features that are coming down in the IT Ops space. For those of you who haven't played with Loom, Loom is an awesome communication tool that helps me personally actually reduce a boatload of meetings with my teams. I often record rooms and send it to them, and quite often my kids run through that door when I'm unexpected. And live rewind, you can quickly roll back and cut out the bits where the dog's barking in this example as you're going. It's available in our Chrome extension, so check that out. Next thing available in Room is being able to edit your video by transcript. I don't know about you, but I'm sure as when I look at this video, I'll probably have a few ums and ers and I need to record that again. It makes it really easy to quickly trim those things up. As you can see, you'll see the transcript, delete the words you don't want, and save them with the power of AI. And yes, I do feel like AI, when it comes to video, it does feel more magical. By the way, I promise this is the real me and not an AI me. I'll tell you when it's the AI me one day, but this is the real me. We announced a new product called Rovo, which is an add-on to your cloud products for Jira and Confluence and so forth. And we couldn't wait with all of you to play with it and before the formal Rovo beta program starts. And so if you have Jira and Confluence Premium, we've included that little gift for you as well. Some of you are already using this today with definitions in Confluence, where you might see what we like to call internally the rainbow underline. When you're working in context of your work and you don't understand something, these definitions in Rovo help you learn in context. So in this specific example here, there's some system inside my company called TCS. I don't know what TCS is, and I'm picked up this task and I have to do this work. What is TCS about? And it uses my company's connected knowledge base in Confluence to understand that. And so that's also available in beta as well, in Jira, as well as Confluence. You can learn more by checking out the Rovo website, rovo.com. Check it out. Lastly, we're always about products and practices. We know behavioral change is hard, and especially when it comes to AI. It's like a customer the other day described it to me as, I've got a calculator on my desk and I keep forgetting to use it. And a lot of that's just all of us going on this journey, learning how to use AI and reminding ourselves of the behavioral change we could do, take the AI approach or take a manual approach or whatever it is. And so to help you that, we'll continue to share practices like we did last month. We shared the Atlassian University courses. This month, we have Julian and Ethan, two of our product managers at Atlassian. Ethan, who heads up some of our AI in the editor, has got a blog. You can learn more about tips and tricks about using the Atlassian editor, which is in Jira and Confluence and Bitbucket and Trello, to help you generate content faster. Many of you use that to create content. And Julian has a piece that's pretty deep and thinks about how, if any of you out there are in product teams building software and using any software, how you can think about using prompts to kind of prototype your features before actually building them. How prompts are actually, there's a lot of innovation in prompts, and I'm still learning about this, getting my head around it, and I'm sure many of your teams are. So definitely one checking out there. As we embark on this journey of unleashing all our team's potential with AI, and we couldn't do it without you, community. So thanks a lot. That's it for me this month, and see you next month. Bye.
Just going very high level over some of the differences between Atlassian Intelligence and Rovo. Both use generative AI. Rovo's generative AI is a little bit more deeply integrated to generate content, and it can review documents, assist in complex decision-making. Summaries, both can summarize, but the summaries that Rovo can provide, they can use external data sources, whereas Atlassian Intelligence summaries are mostly internal. Searching, you can use AI to enhance your searches with contextual results, whereas Rovo, you can search across all sorts of connected tools that you have, including third-party apps and custom data sources. Both are great for using automation, but the Rovo automation can automate complex tasks and maintain project backlogs with a little bit more efficiency. Virtual agents, you can use AI to set up a virtual agent to help with repetitive tasks, response times, answering your more basic questions. Whereas with Rovo specialized agents, you can support more workflows, a lot more team collaboration, a lot more task management. For knowledge management, both are great, but Rovo does provide a little bit more knowledge in terms of knowledge cards supporting interactive exploration of enterprise data. Both can do custom integrations, but the integrations that Rovo can do are a little bit more extensive with third-party apps. They have custom in-house systems, and you can set up industry-specific tools via API. Before we move on, I do have a brief question. What is of the following three statements is true? Some answers are starting to rolling in. All right, the numbers are a little bit overwhelming in one direction. The correct answer for the question is that Rovo provides deeper data integration and specialized AI. All right, and at this point, I will turn it back over to Valerie.
So now we're going to move into our breakout rooms. One major benefit of a live learning course is that over an asynchronous one is the opportunity to engage in smaller breakout rooms. Here we can dive a little deeper and get some best practices. And depending on the group size, we can even participate in a large discussion and go off mute, which I encourage you all to share your own tips and tricks. We're a community of learners here. While you make your selections, let me tell you about your AI guides. For those of you who are new, our best entry point into the Atlassian ecosystem is the Confluence room led by me, and joining me is Capriya, who keeps me on pace. She's a project manager and our operations leader at ConnectCentric. Leland will be heading up the Jira room along with BA Hiran Patel. And for our admins, we have Caleb is leading that room. He's fresh off of a migration, and he'll be joined by Tom, who literally wrote the JSM book. We're back to break the ice. My breakout room will go first. Eric, you asked a couple of great questions.
Sure. My question was, in Confluence, how do you use Atlassian Intelligence to access a Jira project and document the states in a project board based on the columns and states in those columns?
Yeah, we all know that documentation is very important, especially when you're creating new rules. You're programming with complex logic. There's different prompting that we talked about during our breakout room in order to make that magic happen. But as more features are released, it'll be easier to get the AI to do the behavior that you're looking at. All right, jumping on to the next breakout room, Leland or Hiran, do you want to share some insights for us?
So we had a couple of great insights. One of the team members talked about how they can summarize within the Confluence page, and we played around a little bit with creating some prompts and creating some issues from the inside of the breakout room. So I'll turn it over to Hiran to describe a little bit more of what our colleagues in the breakout room talked about.
Sure. So if you're taking meeting notes, like using notes from Zoom, either be manual or the automated version. So one of the I think, sorry, I can't pronounce your name. So I'll skip that part. But what they did was they copy it and they do summarize the feature on Confluence, and then from there on, I suggest that you can use as a project manager to ask the AI to create a high-level features based on the notes, so that way, a little bit less headache for you to come up with the features. The AI will be able to do it, and then you can just test that out the feature, make sure it's valid based on the requirements, and then you can hand that over to your BAs, and then they can take it from there or create an epic or whatever they need to do based on the project setting.
Awesome. Thank you for those insights. Last but not least, JSM, Caleb, and Tom.
Sure. So we went over some of the best practices when it comes to using AI in JSM. Starting simple, complex automations can be very difficult to manage. So you need to make sure that you understand the tool pretty well inside and out before you start getting into some more of the complex automations. Another big thing that we touched upon was, and Val, you're going to love this, documentation. Document every single automation pretty extensively, because you might need to edit something, or somebody else may need to come in and make some changes. Having that documentation ready to go makes it a lot easier for users to understand how the automation is built. Therefore, if you know how it's built, you know how you can modify it. And last but not least, we sort of talked about, testing the automations in a staging environment. You want to definitely make sure that you avoid some unintended consequences when it comes to your automations. And I talked about my personal motto, which is trying to break it. If you and other testers are doing your best to try to break it and you can't, then you've built a pretty good automation. One of the things that Tom touched upon too, which I really resonate with me and agree with, is using AI to handle some of the, I guess you can call it tier 1 support, but you don't want to remove the human touch entirely from the support process. You want to make sure that whomever is needing some help in the tier 1 support situation, they're not feeling disrespected by the automation, or feeling like their questions or concerns are falling upon deaf ears. We want to help users, but for best case AI, it's better to use it more, like I mentioned, as tier 1 support, where you're sort of handling the more rudimentary or basic support queries. Anything a little bit more advanced, that the AI is meant more so to help sort the advanced questions from the basic questions, as opposed to just replacing a human entirely. So definitely keep the human touch involved. You don't want to go overboard with some of your AI automations.
We do have a lot of stuff that comes in through automation, and we use automation heavily, but we don't communicate back and forth with the customer as much. So we would like to utilize that more to kind of look at those comments and see if we can, predefine a response and send that back to them, so they're not waiting for that human interaction all the time. But at the same time, we know that we have to interact with them also. So it's kind of just making sure they don't feel like we forgot about their tickets.
Yeah, communicating back is an interesting thing. I was talking to Leland earlier about, so Leland does data analytics and he has templates. What common phrases are personable enough to make AI feel friendly without it being too fake? Because it is an AI generated response and people know it is. There's clear transparency there. So we were experimenting on those ways.
The only other thing that we would love to utilize more is our canned response through automation. So meaning, like, if we have a bunch of canned responses set up and we have keywords that come through either in those descriptions or even in comments, that we can insert a canned response automatically and send that back. Again, eliminating that amount of time it takes for an actual agent to respond to a customer.
Oh, that's key with canned responses, as well as dynamic variables within the canned response. That makes life a lot easier when you're putting those together.
Big time, yeah. And we're starting to utilize that a lot more, and our teams have indicated they love it, but it's the fact that they still have to go to the tickets, click the canned response and insert it. So we've been looking at, is there a way to do that through automation, especially only on very specific keywords and phrases and stuff like that. But that, I think, would help us tremendously, because we have specific teams that deal with literally the same questions 100 times a day. So utilizing automation for that could really cut down their amount of time they're spending on tickets and focusing more on the work side. But at the same time, we also know that, you definitely need to review those responses all the time.
It's setting up the automation to get the right responses that you want. So like it really digging into the data, your historical data on what you already have, and seeing what the combinations of words are, and then setting up your automation for it. Another tip is to, if you have synonyms, so sometimes people use various different words to mean the same thing, and if you set up your agent one way, it'll only hit half your tickets and not the other half.
Yep.
So someone asked that in the community group, and the way you get around that is you create a page in your knowledge base of all the synonyms. So like if someone says this word or this word or this word or this word or this word, and then having it work off of that page to grab the rest of the tickets, because that's kind of frustrating when you create an automation and it only does half when it could have really done the other half as well.
Yep. Oh yeah, we've experienced that.
See, oh, the power of community and when other people share. I love it. So I hope everyone had a great breakout discussion. I hope you join future courses. Our time together is coming to an end. There's nothing mystical and magical about our moment of reflection. It's just a time to pause and think about how our knowledge has grown, how we're a little different from the demos that we saw, the connections that we made. How can we use AI not to just mimic human interaction, but to genuinely enhance our collaborative efforts? Now, Caleb mentioned one of those recommendations where if the question is complex, you need the human in there. AI automation will take you so far before you need that human element. So in the direct chat to me, I like to hear some of your commitments on how you're going to further your learning, because it's not just a one and done when it comes to learning. It's how we continue to grow. And these features are going to change and evolve. If you can commit to exploring new ways AI can automate your mundane tasks and free up some of that creative time to really think strategically, I invite you to throw some hearts in the chat. Or perhaps you would say, I'm ready to leverage AI's capability to better connect and understand my team, enhancing our synergy and productivity. AI can give you lots of great insights into online behavior. That resonates with you, throw in some hearts. Finally, is there anyone who would say that they're going to commit to staying curious and continuously learning about AI to elevate collaborative efforts, making every interaction more meaningful? Thank you for sharing your hearts with me. Who doesn't like a bunch of hearts in the chat? There is an AI badge that you can earn by going on the community group AI page. It's also linked in your resources. And just by commenting, you don't have to do anything else. By commenting, you earn this badge. Thank you for all of the facilitation in answering each other's questions. And I'll see you next time.